Hey, welcome. We all feel that pinch when prices go up, right? But inflation, it's so much more than just some number you see on the news. It's this quiet force that's constantly reshaping our finances, our choices, and even our whole society in ways you might not even realize. So today, we're going to unpack that hidden story.
It's a feeling we've all had for sure. You're at the grocery store, you look at the bill, or maybe you're at the gas pump and you just think, wait a second, wasn't this cheaper like last week? Your paycheck hasn't changed, but somehow your money just doesn't seem to go as far as it used to.
And listen, you're not wrong. It is not just a feeling. It's a very real economic thing happening all around us. That is the reason the same amount of money buys you less and less over time.
All right, so let's break this down. At its most basic, inflation is just when the prices for, well, pretty much everything go up. And when prices go up, it means every single dollar or pound or whatever currency you use is suddenly worth just a little bit less. But what does that actually look like out there in the real world?
Well, before we get into all the hidden effects, we've got to get a solid grip on the basics first. So let's start right there.
Think about it like this. It can be super simple. Imagine your favorite pizza place. If the cost of tomatoes suddenly skyrockets, or the gas for the delivery truck gets more expensive, well, those costs have to go somewhere. And usually, businesses pass those higher costs right on to you, the customer. And just like that, your weekly pizza night gets a little more expensive.
So how in the world do economists track this stuff for an entire country? Well, they use this tool called the CPI, or the Consumer Price Index. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine a giant virtual shopping cart. And inside that cart are all the things an average family buys. We're talking food, gas for the car, clothes, you name it. They track the total price of that whole cart every single month, and the amount that price changes, that is the inflation rate.
Okay, but here's where things get really interesting and kind of complicated. Because that rising cost of living, it absolutely does not hit everyone the same way. For some people, it's just an annoyance, but for others, it's a full-blown crisis.
And to really get this, we've got to look at how these huge economic forces actually play out on the ground for real people. And this example from Pakistan, man, it's a powerful one.
Just look at this number, 48.07%. In April of 2023, that was the food inflation rate in Pakistan. What does that mean? It means the price of food was almost 50% higher than it was just 1 year before. Seriously, just take a second and imagine your grocery bill jumping by half overnight.
And what's really staggering when you see it laid out like this is just how fast it happened. This wasn't some slow, gradual increase. It was a massive spike in less than a year. Every single one of those bars you see represents a much heavier burden for families trying to put food on the table.
And this isn't just some abstract economic data, right? These are the prices for absolute essentials. When mutton costs 1,600 rupees for a kilogram, and even something like ginger is 750, suddenly every single meal becomes a really tough financial decision. Now this chart, this shows you the squeeze perfectly. For the lowest earning families, almost 70% of their entire monthly income is just gone on food. That leaves barely 30% for everything else. We're talking rent, electricity, getting to work, medicine, school supplies, everything. There's just no wiggle room, no room to breathe. So you see, this goes way beyond just economics. It becomes a huge social issue. And as the Nust Institute of Policy Studies put it, inflation can act like a wedge, literally widening the gap between the rich and the poor and making existing problems with inequality even worse. But, higher prices on the sticker, that's not the only way inflation shows up. Sometimes, companies get a little bit sneaky. Have you ever had this happen? You grab your favorite bag of chips and you swear it feels like there's way more air in there than there used to be. Or a box of cookies feels a little lighter. It's a super common feeling, and just like before, I'm telling you, you are not imagining it.
Yep, this actually has a name. It's called shrinkflation, and it's a pretty clever way for businesses to handle their own rising costs without making you panic with a higher price tag. See, the price on the shelf stays the same, but you just get less of the product. It's basically a hidden price increase, and trust me, it is happening all the time.
But the hidden effects of inflation, they go way deeper than just our shopping carts. They can quietly start messing with our financial lives, hitting our taxes and our debts in some really surprising ways.
Okay, so check this out. There's this thing called bracket creep. Here's how it works. Step 1. Inflation happens, prices go up. Step 2. To help you out, your boss gives you a cost of living raise. Sounds great, right? But step 3. That slightly higher income bumps you up into a new, higher tax bracket. And the result? You end up paying more in taxes even though you can't actually buy anything more than you could before. Your real purchasing power hasn't gone up at all.
And now we get to one of the most powerful and honestly least understood effects of inflation. It basically acts like this giant, silent machine that moves wealth from one group of people to another. Here's the key. If you're a lender, someone who has loaned money out, you get hurt. But if you're a borrower, someone with debt, you might actually come out on top.
So, let's put all these pieces together. Who are the actual winners and who are the losers in all of this? The answer? Well, it might surprise you.
This really lays out the two sides of the inflation coin perfectly. It all boils down to one simple question. Are you mostly a borrower or mostly a saver? If you owe money at a fixed rate, like a mortgage, inflation is kind of your friend. It chips away at the real value of that debt you have to pay back. But if you've been saving money, inflation is your enemy, eating away at the value of what you've put aside.
And the research shows us pretty clearly who tends to fall into each camp. So who are the winners? Often it's younger, middle-income households with those big fixed-rate mortgages. Their biggest debt literally gets easier to pay off over time. And hey, another big winner? The government, because inflation actually reduces the real value of all its debt. Now, for the losers, it's often older folks and high-income households, people who depend on savings or long-term bonds or pensions that aren't designed to keep up with rising prices.
And I want to be really clear here. This is not a small thing. We're talking about a massive reshuffling of wealth across society. Even a small, unexpected jump in inflation can silently transfer billions and billions of dollars from one group to another without a single law being passed.
So the next time you see an inflation report in the news, remember it's so much more than just a number. It's a story. It's a story about why there's more air in your bag of chips, why food prices are skyrocketing. It's about hidden tax hikes and this huge silent transfer of wealth between savers and borrowers, between the young and the old. And ultimately, it isn't just about prices. It's really about power. And it makes you wonder, who's really holding it?